Welcome to EyE on You. We are very honored to have a very special guest with us today. He is a very popular political figure with a prominent image. A very lovely cartoon character named the Big Waster is always associated with him because he created this character to draw public awareness on environmental protection. He is the Secretary for the Environment, Mr. Wong Kam Sing. My impression on Mr. Wong is that he embraces the power of the social media to promote political messages. He would start energy-saving challenge on the social media to raise public awareness on power conservation.
According to President Xi Jinping, China is targeting peak carbon dioxide emissions by 2030 and carbon neutrality by the year 2060. As for Hong Kong, the local government also announced the Clean Air Plan for Hong Kong 2035, Hong Kong Roadmap on Popularization of Electric Vehicles, and Waste Blueprint for Hong Kong 2035. In order to tie in with the country's effort to achieve the goal of reducing carbon intensity. According to President Xi, clear waters and green mountains are as variable as gold and silver mountains. We can tell that the Hong Kong Environmental Bureau is taking a very important role in protecting our environment. Today, we have our honor to invite Mr. Wong Kam Sing, the Secretary for Environmental Bureau, to share with us his insight on environmental policies, especially on the promotions of switching to electric vehicles and the latest Clean Air Plan 2035. Welcome, KS.
Hello, Eunice.
Hello, IC.
Hello, Eunice and Edward.
Hello.
Yes. The quality of air in Hong Kong is considered a very serious matter. For over 30% of the time, visibility is less than 8 kilometers, and haze is often seen hanging in the air, which lasts for several days. So over 50% of the polluted air in Hong Kong is come from locally. So can you tell us how the Clean Air Plan 2035 will lead Hong Kong to a more livable city with better quality and advancing towards the target of meeting in the full ultimate standard of the World Health Organization air quality guidelines in the long run?
Yeah, Eunice, Edward. Air quality is very important. So that's why about 9 years ago, when I was on board, we launched Hong Kong's first Clean Air Plan, setting target, timeline, and initiatives. The good news is that in the past, say 10 years, the major air pollutants, both locally and regionally, has been improved by, say, 40 to 60%. It's not easy. In terms of the visibility, we can see the difference. Over some 10 years, the visibility in Hong Kong has been improved by about 80%. That means less than 4% of the time is with reduced visibility. Say in the last weekend, when we go to Tai Mo Shan, we can see long distance. Say across the border, we can see Shenzhen and also the mountain behind Shenzhen. So it's improving. But we do want Hong Kong's air quality to be even better. So that's why we launched Hong Kong's second Clean Air Plan. Setting target is within, say, some 10 years, in the 2030s, Hong Kong's air quality could be improved on par with those international big cities like Tokyo, Paris. And that would get very close to WHO's AQG by that time.
Right. And according to the Clean Air Plan 2035, it's stated that the government will set up 5 LiDAR monitoring sites in Hong Kong or around Hong Kong to measure the real-time concentrated air pollutants up to several kilometers above the ground. And these monitoring sites are anticipated to be in operation in 2023, right?
Yeah, President.
How is this new technology differ from the previous ones?
Now, ICA will elaborate, but I would like to highlight that regional collaboration is very important to improve Hong Kong's air quality, because you know that while we are working very hard on the improvement locally, regional collaboration is very important, and we would make the best use of the relevant technology. I see.
Yes, regarding your questions about the LiDAR, traditionally we collect the air quality information in air quality monitoring stations, which are typically 50 meters to 25 meters high. But with this LiDAR technology, we can shoot a laser beam to the sky and check the air quality up onto the sky up to several kilometers. So it's a brand new technology that complements with our conventional air quality monitoring, and it will help us to understand how the air pollutants are transporting in and from Hong Kong.
Yeah, that's make the best use of technology that can help us to understand the regional challenges.
Very interesting.
So you have mentioned about the regional collaboration. So what will our government do to strengthen the collaboration with the mainland authorities as to improve the air quality?
Yeah, as mentioned by you that while many air pollutants are generated locally, regional collaboration is increasingly important. We have been keeping close dialogue with the regional counterpart to improve the air quality so that both sides can enjoy better air quality. In brief, according to our new clean air plan, in the coming year, that means next year, we would set the new target with Guangdong. The target would be, say, aiming at 2025 and then 2030, so that we can set the targets for both areas and then we can enjoy better air quality.
Right. I'd like to talk about the electric vehicle as well. So financial subsidies is always a very direct way to encourage people to adopt electric vehicles. And in February, the government announced to amend the first registration tax for electric vehicles. Do you think the amended arrangement can improve the adoption of electric vehicles in Hong Kong?
Okay. A good question that in order to improve the air quality, particularly the roadside air quality, and also to help decarbonization to meet Hong Kong's pledge is to meet the carbon neutrality before 2050. It's not easy, but that's why we launched Hong Kong's first ever roadmap on the popularization of electric vehicles, in short EV. The good news is that Hong Kong's number of EV have been increasing. Okay, you can see that, say, on this table, among the 10 major economies in the world, Hong Kong is among the topmost. The good news is that in the past year, 1 out of every 8 newly registered private cars were EV. The latest figure is that within the first 5 months of this year, up to almost 20%. That means every 5 new private cars, one is EV. And also, in the very recent 2 months, 1 out of 4. So very close to 25 to 30%.
Wow.
And it's the highest among the cities in Asia.
Wow. We ranked the third overall the world, right? All around the world.
Yeah, but certainly we welcome more supply because Hong Kong does not manufacture cars. So that's why on one hand, we'd like to welcome more supply of the electric vehicles and other new energy vehicles.
Yes.
At the same time, we have to solve our problem about charging.
Yes.
Right.
So I have checked the Hong Kong planning and standard guidelines. It says that the Hong Kong longer term targets is that as far as private cars are concerned, 30% are electric vehicles, the EVs, or hybrid by 2020. Of course, we know that we are going towards our aim. And the government has once said it is simply a vision. So now with the formulation of the Clean Air Plan and the new roadmap, Hong Kong will ban fossil fuel powered cars from 2035 with a target of zero carbon emission by 2050. Do you think this is feasible and what will be the challenges?
Okay, there are various challenges as that we'd like to have more supply of the new energy vehicles. At the same time, we have to solve the local problem, in particular about charging. So that's why we launched this roadmap to be very comprehensive, setting targets initiative covering various aspects in relation to the popularization of EV. And I would like to highlight that there are 2 particular milestones. One is to ban the new sales of conventional private cars before 2035. And ultimately, that we will go towards zero vehicle emissions before 2050. And the local charging infrastructure is a very important aspect. But the progress in Hong Kong in recent years is pretty encouraging, as we see on the graph, so that we have confidence that with the collaboration by the trade and also the drivers, we can meet our target.
Right. So from a very practical point of view, electric vehicles takes a very long time to charge, and therefore having sufficient charging stations all around Hong Kong is very important in promoting the adoption of electric vehicles. Do you have any plans on improving the charging network in Hong Kong and mentioning parkings? is the government going to introduce the smart parking innovations to solve the parking problem in Hong Kong, the insufficient parking problems in Hong Kong?
A very good question. So that's why the E roadmap covers various aspects about EV charging. And I would like to highlight two aspects. One is that in the new buildings, about 10 years ago, Hong Kong has already the policy is to encourage the new developments to integrate EV-ready parking space. You can see from the picture that those are newly built buildings. They make the car park 100% EV-ready, and also some of them even install the medium chargers so as to facilitate both the occupants and also the people going to the shopping mall can have the charging much easier. But the challenge is more about the existing buildings. I see, you can elaborate.
It is our policy to encourage our citizens to charge the EVs at home, especially in off-peak hours, so that there is less burden on the electricity grid. But the challenge in Hong Kong is very special, as our secretary said. Most of the people are living on high-rise buildings.
Right.
So when we want to install EV charging infrastructure in our residential estates or car parks, we often encounter some challenges, such as we need to obtain consents from other parties, as well as when it comes to cost sharing, there might be some problem. So to overcome these difficulties, we have launched this EV charging at home subsidy schemes to subsidize these buildings or residential car parks to turn the car parks EV ready. And the results is very well received. We originally intended to cover 60,000 parking spaces within 3 years.
Wow.
But just after half a year after launching the scheme, we have already received 450 applications.
Wow.
That covers nearly 100,000 parking spaces.
Wow.
So the result is very positive.
So briefly, we are enabling both the new and existing buildings, car park to be EV ready to support our EV popularization.
Wow. So the target is that after 3 years, half of the parkings will have electric charging station, right?
Yeah, in Hong Kong, in terms of the private parking space in residential estates, the total number is about 300,000. According to the scheme that we mentioned, under we call the new buildings and also existing building schemes, 150,000 parking space would become EV ready within a few years.
Right.
That means 1 out of 2 in Hong Kong.
Wow, that's very interesting to know.
Yes, I've read from the roadmap of the popularization of the EV, and there is a very comprehensive charging network that we are going to implement on. For example, there will be having more private charging facilities, public charging facilities, quick charging facilities as such. So talking about the quick charging, I know that we in PolyU we have some research projects doing on whether we can improve on the battery charging and whether we can have a quicker charging system. So does the Green Tech Fund cover these projects, and will the government encourage more research projects happening in Hong Kong?
I think you're asking a very good question. In order to welcome the low energy vehicles transformation, we need have more R&D and also the use of technology and innovations. So we are on one hand working with the trade to marketize the EV charging facilities in town and also integrate the smart technologies. At the same time, EyE can introduce our Green Tech Fund to support that.
Yes, we have a $200 million Green Tech Fund in place to subsidize research and development of decarbonization technologies, as well as technologies that help with environmental protection. And to focus more on our resources on technologies that can help applications in Hong Kong, we have set out 5 different priority themes. And one of the priority themes is about green transport, which will include electric vehicles. And we would also like to mention that another priority theme under the Green Tech Fund is air quality. So we are putting a lot of effort in encouraging R&D in these aspects.
To add, we welcome the academia like Hong Kong PolyU to make the application. At the same time, the fund is open to the trade, so that if there are private companies interested in the green tech, welcome to apply the funding.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, for your time, and we are all very confident about Hong Kong's future and our environment.
Yeah, Albert, Eunice, we all share the vision to make Hong Kong cleaner and greener. And looking at the pictures taken by EyE, that we'd like to meet the vision of the Clean Air Plan soon to make Hong Kong healthier in terms of living, and also to meet the low carbon transformation, and last but not least, to make Hong Kong world class in terms of air quality.